So I polled my Instagram audience for questions for you, and they're all like, how do we make more money? How do we like call in more abundance using Feng Shui? So I would love to hear your answer to that. And like maybe also how you specifically use it to support your business.
So for me, one of the very first things I did was, in terms of setting myself up for success, was I set my office up for success, and one of those things is making sure that you're in the command position, meaning that you can see anyone who's coming in. I know that spaces don't always arrange, they're not always arrangement friendly when you say like you need to be facing out, and people prefer to have the desk pushed up against the wall. But if you think about a CEO or an executive, you're never going to see them with their desk pushed up against a wall, right? And it's the same thing like with the mafia boss. Like the mafia boss is always going to be at the back of the room, being able to see anyone who's come in with this solid wall behind you. That actually comes from the very origins of Feng Shui, which is this idea that you would have a mountain at your back and you could see the valley in front of you, and there'd be soft rolling hills to the side, so that you were embraced, supported, and protected from any of the elements, right? So when you're in command position, that's really what you're creating. And it's allowing you to manage the chi coming at you, instead of like, if your back is to the door, having chi just come at you, which feels like, I didn't see that deadline coming, or that snuck up on me, or, why are people talking about me behind my back? All of those different experiences. So I would say, in terms of my personal practice, having my office set up, and the other thing is holding really good boundaries. So, clearing my desk at the end of the day so that there's open space when I start, and, it's available to whatever needs to show up, but then also leaving my office and shutting the door, or shutting that down in a way that it's like, okay, I'm not working now. So I would say those are just really good personal practices. In terms of calling abundance into your life, I would say one of the easiest things you can do is keep the little succulents or jade plants. Those are really friendly Feng Shui energy. And it's because they retain water. And if you remember at the beginning, I said water is symbolic of fortune. So it's like really holding on to that money energy for you. I would say pay attention to what's happening at your front door. Love up at your front door, because the front door is the mouth of chi. It's where you call in all of the opportunities to network, to support yourself, to attract abundance. All of that comes in through the front door. And that is sort of how you greet the world. So the better your front door feels, the more attractive you're going to be to that abundance energy. And then I would say definitely you need to be using the kitchen, because that stove represents prosperity. All the different prosperity on tap, that's what your burners represent. So the more you're in the kitchen, the more you're using it, the more you're stoking that wealth energy. And the thought behind that is, if you go way back, when people had enough food to feed their family and friends, it must mean that they were wealthy. And then those friends and family would be strong. They could go off and earn more money and bring back, to their family and community, and the circle of wealth and abundance and prosperity continued, right? And so that's really where that idea of, working with your kitchen and using it can be great for stoking wealth. I mean, there's so many different ways. There's a whole list of different things, and some of them are more specific to your house, but those are really easy things that anyone could do.
I know. I'm like tempted to like pause this right now. Let me just move my desk over here. Well, it's also funny because I live on Maui, and there's literally a mountain right here and ocean right here. Like I'm close. Wow. I'm close to the coast. So it's like we look out in our backyard and there is a mountain right there and the ocean right there. And I've read I forget who the author is, but a couple of years ago I read like Hawaiian Feng Shui of someone who like lives on the islands and like has his own interpretations of it. And it's just really cool to be like, oh, I'm actually in a physical environment where this is kind of made for.
Yeah. I mean, and then you're also getting that really like delicious land chi, right? Like that's very, when you think about the very beginnings of Feng Shui, it was they used it to find auspicious burial spots for royalty. And so that was the idea. You wanted the mountain behind and the view in front, so it would please the ancestors. And so when you're reading that topography, a lot of times that's dismissed today because people think, oh, Feng Shui just applies to what's happening in my house. But in fact, what's happening around your house is also part of that conversation. And so while there's not a ton you can do about it when you're in a space necessarily, without working with a practitioner to learn very specific remedies, when you're looking for a new home or you're relocating, that's when this information can be really helpful.